Let's take a look at my business and how it has grown over the years. I started my PI business way back in 2008. I know, to some that seems like a very long time ago, and to some others that time is but a drop in the bucket. Heck, I know PIs that are still in business today that started their PI business way back when I was in high school. That in and of itself, folks, shows you how much things such as scaling and growing a business can flux. Trust me, over the years, my business has taken many curves and gone through many changes. Sometimes when I look at my business, I think, gosh, it is completely different than way back in 2008. And then there's other times I think, gosh, there is so much that is still the same. Just to give you some insight about my business, and I know many of you have heard this before, but stick with me. We will get to the question of how to scale and grow your business. Here is a little history of my PI business. I was working for corporate America back in the day, and I simply got tired of making millionaires millions, and I decided to look for a profitable venture I could take on myself and stay close to home while making a living. I ran across an advertisement from a large PI firm in Denver looking for contract surveillance investigators to help with workers' comp cases. No experience required. So I said to myself, self, why not? This sounded like a great opportunity for me, and it was going to be my own business. I didn't have to chase the sales calls. Jobs would be coming to me. And I get to sit in my car all day and make money. What a deal. I did the math. It still made sense, so I started up Elfco Investigations. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. Now, here is the truth about it all, folks. Listen up, especially if you are thinking of getting into the business or have recently started your PI business. Everything you thought about the business, all of the dreams that you have before you start your PI business can happen, but it probably won't happen out of the gate. My first few years were tough, folks. I mean, seriously tough, folks. I had some other side hustles going on, and my wife, bless her soul, had a good full-time job to help carry us through as I started my new business. If I had one word of wisdom to tell everyone out there that is thinking of starting their own PI business, it would be, don't do it. Well, I mean, don't do it if you expect or need to have a full-time income from the get-go. Don't become a PI if you have a family to raise and it will be your only source of income and you have nothing to fall back on. And don't be a PI if you aren't ready to put in some serious hard work, put in the endless hours, and have the ability to get back up after you fall, dust yourself off, and get back at it. Trust me, folks, there will be setbacks in your business through the years. Heck, there are with any business. And don't do it if you don't have at least 3 years to invest into it as you grow it. And for those first 3 years, you need to have the personal financial wherewithal to live without an income. From my experience, folks, spending countless decades running troubled and startup companies, if a new company can make it 3 years, then they can make it 5 years, and most that make it 5 years can make it to 10 years. And the vast majority that can make it to 10 years can make it a long-term business with a sustainable income for themselves. Folks, I have seen many a PI come and many a PI go in my days. I know less than probably 30% of all the new PIs I have met in my years are still in business today, and a lot of those still doing it are working for other companies. Not that there is anything wrong with that, to be sure, but many a PI set out thinking it will be all peaches and cream. Then they find out there's a lot of bitter coffee to drink along the way. Okay, have you given up on your dream of becoming a PI yet? If not, good for you. Here we go. Let's look at one major secret to help you scale and grow your PI business as you move along. Growing your PI business at pace is one of the most important things you can do, folks. Don't try to make leaps and bounds in the business. If you are doing contract surveillance, and many a startup PI do that, then you start advertising for your own surveillance jobs. Make sure you have a plan on how you will handle the workload. One of the biggest decisions that I ran into when I broke out on my own was having to make the decision of priorities from one job to the next. You see, when I was doing only contract work, I was getting $25 to $35 an hour depending on the job. When I started going after my own clients, I started out at $55 an hour plus mileage, travel time, report, and video time, and all that jazz. You see, the contract work paid for just the time on surveillance, 8 hours a day, no pay for that ancillary work. So I found myself often having to make some tough decisions. Do I take the job that pays $200 a day from my long-term client, or do I take the job from a private client where I was going to make 2 to 3 times that a day? The answer would seem simple if you just looked at the numbers, but there was more to it than that. You see, my private clients trickled in here and there when I first started out. So the workload was sporadic at best, but my long-term client, which paid a lot less, could keep me busy almost every day. What I had to do was make an arrangement with my long-term client where I could easily not take a job, but if I accepted a job, I would get it done for them. Now, as time passed, it got harder and harder, and I eventually had to stop working for that long-term client. This might seem to be good, but it can be a bit terrifying at times too. I also quickly realized my $55 an hour was way too low, and I was able to raise my rates to $75 an hour, plus all of the ancillary fees like mileage, travel time, report time, video editing, and research. So the first big secret, yes, there are a few secrets I have for you. The first big secret to scaling your business is to do it financially, not physically, folks. Work smarter, not harder. You do not have to double your workload to double your income. I went from making $200 on an 8-hour day of conducting surveillance to making over $750 a day. So when you think of scaling or growing your business, your first thought should be, how do I increase income, not how do I increase workload? There are only so many hours in the day, so many days in the week, and so many weeks in the year. Now, the second way to scale or grow your business is to get into new business lines. But wait, isn't that increasing your workload? Yep, it is. Or is it? When I started branching out on my own, I expanded into criminal defense investigations, accident investigations, and other types of investigations. As I continued to grow, I found that some of these other areas of investigation commanded higher hourly fees. So I had to make some more decisions. I literally had to decide some days, do I go out on a surveillance or do I take a criminal case that will pay me double? Well, this decision was not as black and white as it seems, folks. After pondering it for a long time and coming to the conclusion that I wanted my business to continue to grow, I came to the realization that I needed more physical resources. I decided to start outsourcing or contracting my surveillance work. Yes, I work those cases from a logistics and a planning and a management standpoint, but I hire other skilled PIs to get the field work done for me. And I try to make sure I pay a bit better too. I do believe you have to take care of those that take care of you. But that is a topic for another video. So there you go, folks. Outsource your work as you grow so you can grow your business at a sustainable pace. My role in my PI business now is almost purely management, sales, and marketing. I outsource most of my field work. I do take on a lot of the desk work, though, myself. So research, report writing, video editing, that stuff. Thus, I am available to answer the phone when it rings. That is another tough challenge as you grow and scale your business. You have to answer the phone to get the sale, but if you are working all the time, there may be little time to answer the phone.